Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about practicing being thin and healthy right now. And this is a different way to approach it than I know most dieters think about approaching it as, because you tend to think that I'll be thin and healthy when I lose the weight, right? But you have to realize that your weight is what we call a lagging indicator. The leading indicator is what you're thinking, feeling, and behaving now, right? And over time, it's going to turn into what your weight and your health is. So if you want to create the change that you're really looking for, which is to live as a thin and healthy person, again, it's not just to lose the weight for a day and then start putting it back on. It's to lose the weight and live there. It's to stay at your goal weight. And if you're going to do that, it's going to require that you start practicing being the thin, healthy person you want to be right now. And if we put it in a different context, it's kind of like, I don't know, if you want to play a musical instrument, if you want to get good at art, if you want to get good at a sport, you start practicing now. And the more you can put yourself into the mode that's going to thrive and succeed in that arena, the better you're going to do. But with weight loss, what most people do is they say, okay, I'm going to change my behavior. I'm this overweight, out of control person who's going to change my behavior. Once I get to my goal weight, I'll have arrived there. But it's backwards thinking, because most of you have gotten close, if not to all the way to your goal weight, and you still don't know how to think like a thin, healthy person. Okay. So at the end of the day, you have to start focusing on what you're thinking, feeling, and doing now today, rather than just focusing on the future goal weight that you want to achieve. Because if you start focusing on this, another way to look at this is there's the difference between destination-based motivation and journey-based motivation. So dieting has taught you to have a destination-based focus, right? Where your main focus is on getting to your goal weight. And that's what you're obsessed with. That's what you think about all the time, right? Whereas journey-based motivation is all about the journey, the transformation of who you become along the way. Because again, if you've ever gotten close to or gotten to your goal weight, if it was so amazing, if once you got there, you were just going to stay there forever and figure it out and all that, then how come you put the weight on? How come 85 to 95% of dieters that lose the weight put the weight back on? So we need a different approach. And again, not just a different approach to succeed, but a different approach to maintain the success. And what that is right now, at this very moment, it's starting to think to yourself, what does a thin and healthy me think? How does a thin and healthy me behave? What choices does a thin and healthy me make during the day to day? How do I drink? How do I sleep? How do I relax? How do I move? How do I exercise? Today, right now. And if you start to practice being the person you want to be day in and day out, it's the equivalent of if you want to play golf and you start practicing your golf swing every day. What do you think is going to happen over 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years? What do you think is going to happen? How could you not get infinitely better with that approach than this idea that I'm going to stay the same person, but I'm going to change how I eat? And then at some point I'll lose the weight and then I'll be a different person. It's not working. It's not working. It's never going to work because it's missing all the core fundamentals of transformation. And the primary one is practicing being the person you want to be. Dieters go into this process thinking that you know what to do and you're good at it and you can just do it starting tomorrow. No, you have to practice it. You're not good at it. You're not good at making the right choices, the decisions, the habits, the routines, the awareness, the shopping, the environment. You're not good at these things right now if you're overweight. And so you've got to practice them. And then the question becomes, do you want to practice them next year? Or do you want to start practicing them now so you can start getting all those benefits and results? And again, the best part of this approach, in my opinion, is that when you start practicing being the thin, healthy person you want to be right now, is that you get to feel good immediately. Because when you start to operate out of the mindset that you're a thin, healthy person who's always getting better and better at it, and you start behaving that way today, you start to feel better about yourself. You make better choices. You reflect on them. You feel proud. Your body feels stronger and more energized. You sleep better and wake up more focused and motivated. It becomes this chain reaction that can start right now, this minute, with something as simple as drinking some water. going for a short walk, taking a moment, closing your eyes and just taking a deep breath and letting it out. It doesn't take these Herculean efforts of dieting to succeed and feel good about yourself. That's the lie you've been told by the diet industry. You can start feeling better literally right this second by taking a deep breath and letting it out. It feels better. And that feeling is your thin, healthy self. And the more you feel that, the more successful you're going to be with your weight. But the thing is, you can feel amazing today. If you drink some water, if you eat an apple, if you go for a short walk, if you do a couple deep breaths and relax, if you have a decent sized salad somewhere today, you will feel amazing today. You will go to bed feeling unreal, and you'll wake up tomorrow morning reflecting on it, feeling amazing. And if you start to realize this is the process. Now, does that mean you're going to be perfect? Does that mean you're never going to make a mistake? Of course not. We get caught off guard. Sometimes we get in bad moods. Things happen. That's normal. And it doesn't matter, because when the core of what you do day in and day out is built around being the person you want to be, being the thin, healthy, happy person you want to be, over a week, over a month, over a year, that shows up in a dramatic way because you develop the skill sets, the thought patterns, the emotional responses of being the person who you want to be. This is how you get the weight loss results you're looking for, not by just pretending you're going to force yourself to act different and hoping that your weight goes down. It's by intentionally, consistently practicing being the person you want to be. And if you want to practice this more effectively, click the link in my bio, or go to programyourselfthin.com and go get the free hypnosis session I give you, because that is one of the easiest ways to practice being the thin, healthy person you want to be. This session is a kickstart session designed to help you clarify what your weight goal is, how it's going to feel, how you behave as that version of you, and let you connect to it. And it has the effect of magnetizing the goal so that all of a sudden you feel pulled toward your goal weight. You feel pulled and supported. You want to do the things that make you your goal weight instead of trying to push yourself. And it's transformative if you go check that out. So again, go click the link and go get the free hypnosis session. It's going to help you out. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them. I am here every day to help you all out and answer any weight loss questions I can. Any weight diet is welcome. Again, it's not just mindset work. Again, most of the people I start working with are in a diet. They've been dieting for a while. So if you're struggling with your diet and would like some help, let me take a swing at it. Let me see if I can help you. What's up, Karen? How's it going? Long time no see. Although I do know I was looking down. I don't know. I'm sure if you still live down there, but I was looking at Rehoboth Beach. They got snow. They had snow the other day. It was so weird to see the beach with a bunch of snow on it. But so I suppose if you're still down there, you're getting snowed in, and that's probably unusual for you. Flamingo says, when I used to be skinny, I used to be mindful about money too. Now I overeat and overspend. Well, there you go. The law of coaction, that sometimes when we do one thing, it affects other things, right? So for you, Flamingo, that's important because, and we're all like that. That I think that's an important point to recognize, that if you pay attention to your weight loss in times when you're healthier and on the right track with things, you'll probably notice that there are other positive impacts as well in your life. Maybe you start saving more money or making more money. Maybe your relationships improve. Maybe your grades get better. Maybe your house gets more organized. But I would say that is very common, that things kind of run in circles somewhat. And of course, because the way you eat directly impacts your life. I really don't think about weight primarily as an aesthetic visual thing. I know that sounds strange. Of course I do. I get it, right? I'm part of the world. But the main way that I think about weight is from the inside. Your energy levels, your ability to think clearly, your emotional management abilities, your motivation, your energy, your comfort, all the stuff going on inside of you. And I think if you eat like shit, it's going to negatively impact a lot of areas of your life. How could it not? To me, it's no different than if you're alcohol or substances. If you start getting into them, they tend to have an impact in other areas of your life, and they're usually not positive. And I think that's a wonderful focus to have, because I think that's where the real motivation exists. is realizing that this ain't just about how you look. It's not about the size jeans you're wearing. It's about literally your entire quality of life and what you're able to do and accomplish in it. So I appreciate you saying that. Yep. But then again, if anyone has a question, feel free to ask them. Karen says, yes, still have ice that hasn't melted. Temperature finally above freezing today. Yeah, it's been freezing here too. Massachusetts, it's been cold, and it's been cold ever since we had forever snow. I mean, we had like a literal like 2 feet of snow. And from the day it snowed till now, it's been like an average of 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So all the snow's remained. But yeah, but I'm in Massachusetts, so I know Delaware is not used to that stuff. Excuse me. I love these balls. I got these little magnetic balls, and I love them. They're so fun. But they mess with you because they have. I'm not a mathematician here, sir, and a scientist, but they got like what poles, right? So this part attracts, right, and this part, if I turn it around, it repels. So it's weird when you got them in your hands and stuff. It's pretty good, but then sometimes they get their opposite poles and they shoot off. I drop these more than any fidgets I've ever had, but I love them. And they're little, I can't describe what they're like. They're like a rubber sort of material. Daughter got these, but I love these, they're just, they're one of my favorites. And I love fidgets. I got a lot of fidgets here. This is another one of my favorites. This little one. Look at that thing. So yeah. Yeah, but it's been cold out for sure. I've had enough of winter. I'll tell you, I don't mind. I love hibernating as much as anyone, but I got to say, it has been kind of a straight. It's so funny. Even today, I went outside and it was like 25. I was like, oh, it's nice and warm. That was just so relative. Nice job, Karen. Karen says, I maintained my weight for quite a while now, thanks to you. Well, thank you. And I'm glad you mentioned that because, again, what we're talking about here, sure, well, of course, I want you to lose weight. You got to lose weight in order to get to your goal weight and live there forever. But losing weight is just the first phase, right? What I'm really interested in is how do you live at your goal weight? And so every time I hear my clients tell me they've been maintaining their weight for a while, it's just another feather in my cap because I don't know, I guess it's impossible. If you're to believe all the weight loss medications, I guess it's impossible to lose weight in any way other than medications, and I thrive and revel in living in that's fucking bullshit. Excuse my mouth. But every day I get to work with people that have struggled their whole lives with weight and help them learn how to master it and live at their goal weight, and science will tell you, I guess, that it can't be done now. Is that where we're going? It can be done. When you have the right system, you can absolutely do it. So great job, Karen. I'm proud of you. What's up, Hillary? Hillary says, hi, Jim. I love the review and rehearse system. Sorry, I forgot its real name. Yep, read and rehearse. You got it. Is there a moment in the program for celebration, reviewing what you've learned that day about yourself? Thanks. Yes, absolutely. That was actually, I got to put that training in the thing. It was somewhat more of an updated training, but it's basically, there's a couple different redo techniques. So Program Yourself Thin has got 3 main areas. There's the goal weight blueprint, which is this here, this workbook, 144 pages. This is your customized roadmap for how to live at your goal weight. We go through mindset, lifestyle, eating. Okay, this is what to do. Then you have to know how to get yourself to do it. That's the Program Yourself Thin method. And that's a 60-second mental rehearsal technique you use at night. And it's really 2 techniques. It's the redo technique and the rehearsal technique. And the redo technique, this to you, Hillary, is there's a couple different versions of it. So the main redo technique we use is the correction technique, where we did something we weren't happy with today and we go and redo it the way we want to do it, right? That's that. Another one, though, is we do the installation one. So if you want to do something new that you haven't done before, that's a little trick one we do. And then the other one is the replay. Okay. And that's exactly what you're talking about, Hillary, where when all of a sudden maybe spontaneously did something, or maybe you had planned on doing something a good way and you did it, we replayed again, So basically it's a redo replay, but you're reinforcing it in your mind, exactly like you said. You're celebrating it and you're learning extra from it. So yes, absolutely, Hillary. And if you're in the Circle app, if you go into PYT system, the replays, and you scroll down, if you scroll down, stop at the first time you see redo rehearsal technique, and you will see that extended training on it. But great job. Yes, it's a very powerful technique. And you use it in a couple different ways depending on how the day goes. So nice job. And as you stick with the program longer and longer, you will find that you do more replays, than you do corrections. And that's kind of the point. What's up, Jen? How's it going? Finally catching a live. I'm still at goal now for 14 plus months. Yes, Jen. Super proud of you, Jennifer. I'm going to screenshot that because, again, I always like I love all my success stories, but my maintenance stories are obviously, that's really my calling card. That's what I think separates what I'm doing versus most of weight loss people is they're talking about how to lose weight. I'm talking about how to live at your goal weight. And they're two totally different things. So super job, Jennifer. You're doing super. Yeah, 14 plus months. That's so fun because once you get to 14 plus months, you start to really believe this. Hey, I could do this. Hey, it does take a while. I will tell you that. So don't be discouraged by that, Jen. If sometimes you get a little, you're even still, right? Even 14 months in, some days you can be a little wobbly. That happens too. But again, it happens less and less. You know what I mean? It's a great job. Keep it up. Yeah, let's see here. Make the TikTok in their funny comment section. Yeah, I love Massachusetts. Too beautiful but cold. Yes, it is cold. It is beautiful too. Yeah, where I live is just, I think it's gorgeous. I love it here. But yes, it is cold. It is a cold winter without question. Yeah, Garrett's like, I can't wait to lay by my pool in the sun. Yeah, right. I know. I can't either. I'm looking forward to it. And down in Rehoboth, I can't wait. I got already booked down to go to Rehoboth there. Can't wait. Yeah, maintenance was way harder than losing to master. Agreed. And it's not that it's necessarily harder, but it's really unusual. If you think about it, I mean, if you're in this culture, your entire life, you have been bombarded with weight loss marketing, weight loss conceptualization. That's how you think about weight. You think you're unhappy with your weight and you want to lose it. That's it. Never do you think about how do I live at my goal weight. So it's not that it's necessarily harder. It's just that you're starting from you really have there's just not a lot there. What do you know about maintenance? No one knows about maintenance, apparently, to the point that these, these drug ads can make arguments that there's no way to lose weight unless you do that, and it's just not true. But they can say that because there's literally no one talks about living at your goal weight. And again, the reason why, well, listen, folks, we're in real time. We're dealing with real challenges in real time. And if you think about it in your life, say you're 50, 60 or under, our entire lives, I mean, shit, if you're 70, 80, same thing. Our entire lives, we've lived in bullshit. What do I mean by that? I mean, and I was thinking this today, like we really live in a time of bullshit. I mean, we've never in the history of the world has there been so much marketing. I was just thinking that today, like it's so hard to even wrap our heads around. You know what I mean? Like you had millions of years of humans, no marketing. And then the last 100 years, nonstop marketing. And so what's happened is the marketing, the actual food and how engineered it is and how scientifically it's designed to be as addictive as possible. The marketing, which is designed to be as manipulative as possible. The channels of distribution where this shit is constantly in your face. This has never existed in history. And what that means is that we're all dealing with a new challenge. And so there is no reference point. Listen, sorry if I'm fuck your grandma. So what if your grandma ate natural food? She was surrounded by natural food. She grew up with natural food. We ain't in that world no more. So what your grandma ate, that's irrelevant to you. You know what I mean? Like we're in an alien land. You know what I mean? We've got to figure out what I believe is we've got this ancient biology in this brand new alien world designed to manipulate that biology. And the only chance I see of success is upgrading our mental software so that we can deal with this new reality we live in, where we're surrounded 24 hours a day by hyper palatable addictive foods. And we're constantly being prompted and triggered to go and eat it. It's really something else, And if you think about it, it's brand new. It's never existed in history. So there's no reference point for how to deal with it. Just eat what grandma ate. Well, this ain't that world no more. There's a lot more than knowing what grandma ate that's going to allow you to eat right, that we need. And it's new stuff. Again, that's why I say, with program yourself, then just give an example. What I believe it is that we need to figure out let me turn this around here, is in Program Yourself Thin, we go through the goal weight pyramid, and you have to learn how to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. So it's not enough for me just to tell you, hey, eat this. That's why I always say this, that I think that, like the pyramid most people do is about that much of it. That's hey, just eat 1,000 calories. Hey, track your points. Don't eat for 16 hours. Right. But we're missing all of that. And I think you need that if you have any chance in hell at this day and age, in this environment, to be able to live at your goal weight and master it. Right. So, yeah, so maintenance is more challenging. That's why I'm Programming Yourself Thin, we start with maintenance. It is more challenging. But again, it's not so much that that it's more challenging, it's that you just never have learned anything about it. So you're kind of starting from a more beginner place with that. What's up, Jane? Jane says, in White Rock, British Columbia. Okay, we haven't even had any snow or a deep freeze. It's 48 degrees at the moment. Nice and sunny, too. Wait, what the hell? I thought you would have been a lot colder. That's interesting. Funny world. Edeline says, I guess now with you, I will get to my goal. Just got to know you about a few days back. Last year, I was at my heaviest, got to work and lost 20 kilograms from 96 kilograms, aiming at losing 15 kilograms this year. Need a lot of knowledge like this. Yeah, super. Yeah, and welcome, Edeline. I'm super glad you're here. And make sure, let me put this link in here. So for those of you over in Facebook or YouTube land, let me put this link in, because what I want you to do, Edeline, first of all, congrats. Nice job. Great work. And again, whatever you're doing, Edeline, I like the fact that you've been doing it for over a year. So that to me is a big sign that whatever you're doing at least has some of the qualities of being able to sustain it. Okay. But I want you to go click that link. Go get the free hypnosis session I give you. If you're on TikTok, click the picture of me on the top left there, and you'll be brought right to my bio. You'll see the link. Go get the free hypnosis session I give you. It's called The New Thin Me. It's a Kickstart session designed to get you fired up and motivated. So go check that out, and keep it up, Adeline. Great job. Shereen says, marketing the absolute crap. Our poor kids' snacks are no longer food for them. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a wild world, and it's changing every second, So again, to get the results you want, we got to stop looking backwards, and diets are backwards, folks. Diets officially don't work. Think about this. If diets work, there would be no one on GLP-1s. Diets do not work. And to drive the point home, you can look at 100 years of dieting, and I dare you to tell me which diet is the effective one. There's not a single one. Again, Weight Watchers may rise to the top of the list because of the social connection component to it. But take that away, and Weight Watchers is as dumb shit as all the rest of them. As ineffective. None of them work to help people lose weight long-term in any substantial way. And there's no question about that. There's not even, what are you going to argue? What diet are you going to argue with me about? What are you going to say? There's literally not a diet in 100 years that you could even say is number one. Again, maybe you can make an argument for Weight Watchers, and that's purely because of the social piece. And I think that's a really important point to start from, is that, what we've been, and I say this every day, and I can't say this enough. The core reason why dieting is so ineffective is because dieting is a branch of the food processing industry. Did you know this? So everything you think about weight loss was basically put there by a food company. Weight Watchers was owned by Nestle. No. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products is owned by the same company that owns Onions, Pretzels, and Cinnabon. Jenny Craig is owned by Slim Fast is owned by the same company that owns Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So do you really think these companies want you to lose weight and have the right mindset and be thin and healthy for the rest of your life? Is that what you think Nestle wants for you? Yeah, you think Heinz wants you to not eat their bullshit? You'll never convince me that's what they want. And so I think they love, they love the diets because they get you coming and going. But then when you listen to them and you kind of get into diet mode, they're just filling your head up with bullshit. Bullshit. Dieting don't work. I mean, we're going to make an argument. Listen, I know it works when you do it, but it doesn't work long-term because it's not built for long-term success. It's built as a knee-jerk reaction to force yourself to act a little differently for a little while, lose some weight. And then what always ends up happening? It's always the same end of the story every time. And so instead of thinking that next Monday, when you start, is going to be different. Start to realize that it's a dead end. Dieting is a dead end. And I think the real answer is, again, to simply, we break it down, is to start thinking about being a thin, healthy person, to practice being a thin, healthy person starting now by improving your mindset, by improving your lifestyle and your eating. So you get to the point where you're able to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person on near autopilot. That's the goal. And if you approach that goal with a strategy, a comprehensive, holistic strategy that makes sense and is comfortable, your chances of success go way up. Hope that makes sense. Hillary says, I love your system because I can continue to love food, just have to love it with a different attitude and technique. Yeah, exactly, Hillary. I appreciate you saying that, because I think that's another good point is, it's funny, we just had the Super Bowl and we had, I was doing a call yesterday and someone got on and said, man, this program is so awesome. I went to the Super Bowl yesterday. I had some pizza, I had some chicken wings, had a little bit of dessert. And then today I'm right back on track. That's what we do. Now, I know I can already hear what you're saying. You're saying, I could never do that. I could never do that. I eat one piece of pizza, like the whole pizza. Yeah. But let me ask you this, dieters, have you ever in any consistent strategic way practiced eating more moderately? Hear what I said, right? I didn't say do some wingnut crazy, all of a sudden I don't eat carbs. All of a sudden I've restricted half my calories. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a calm, grounded way to approach eating moderately. Like you would imagine you wanted to play the piano, but seriously. And what do? You're going to start practicing it consistently. You want to start playing golf. So you start practicing consistently. Guess what? At first you suck at it. But as you keep practicing, you start making distinctions. You start building up muscle memory. You start getting the mechanics of it. You start understanding it. You start getting better. And the same thing goes for the things that affect your weight. And again, eating moderately is just one branch of eating better, but you can absolutely become a more moderate eater. It takes the right mindset and the right lifestyle, and other eating factors impact that as well. Again, that's where the holistic piece of it comes in. But I promise you can become you can get better at eating moderately. But have you ever approached your eating moderately as a practice? Or have you approached it as, okay, it's Monday, I'm going to start eating moderately now? Well, what? That's like saying, oh, it's Monday, so I'm going to be a great piano player. Well, guess what? Just because it's Monday doesn't give you magical abilities. It doesn't give you magical abilities with the piano. It doesn't give you magical abilities with your weight and your eating. So again, the real secret is practicing. And what that leads us to, again, the reason we get good at eating more moderately, make that a central piece, is because that opens the door for us to be able to have more pleasure with our food than we've ever had in our lives. Because if you've been struggling with your weight your whole life, you don't even know how much pleasure you can get out of food. Because if you think that the main thing impacting your experience of how much pleasure you get from food is how much you can eat, you're completely missing the boat. Because there's a consequence phase to every time you eat. You may ignore it, but there is always a consequence phase. And when you look at the times when you've eaten the most food, you may have enjoyed the hell out of eating it. I won't take that away from you. But the second you were done eating, how did you feel physically, mentally, and emotionally? And what, are you just not going to count that? That's like saying, oh, I go on a shopping spree. It was amazing. Well, yeah, you pay all the bills now. Yeah, you know what I mean? There's always a consequence. But again, in this reality we live in, we've been so conditioned from ads our whole lives that the ads have taught us to just focus on the anticipation and consumption of food. Never mind the consequence. Put that right out of your mind. But when you start paying attention to the consequences that start 6 seconds after your last bite, it smacks you right in the face. Bap! It's like, oh, shit. You find out you're fucking hungover most of the time is what you'll find out. You've developed a tolerance to it, but you're basically hungover all the time. And this hangover is worse than an alcohol hangover, because while you may not physically recognize it much anymore because you built a tolerance, pay attention next time you overeat or choose the wrong thing. 6 seconds after you finish the last bite, pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. What are you saying to yourself in your head? Are you saying, hey, nice job, great job, we did it again, super, keep doing this, we're right on the right path? Or are you saying, oh, you fucking jerk, you horrible person, there you go, you deserve to be fat, see, you're a loser? You tell me what you're saying to yourself. And then from there, let me know which emotions you're feeling 6 seconds after last bite. Are you feeling proud, light, happy, energized, ready to take on the world? Or Do you feel discouraged, frustrated, sad, lonely, depressed, pissed off? Which one? So if never mind, I don't care how you feel because I feel fine after I eat. You don't, but that's okay. But pay attention to what you say to yourself and what you feel. You let me know. You let me know the next time you eat a pint of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, how it feels 6 seconds after you're done. Let me know how that goes. And you said, well, yeah, but it's really fun to eat. I get that. It was fun to eat for 10 minutes and you felt really shitty about yourself for 24 hours. And that's a truth. You don't have to pay attention to it. Okay. It's a truth that exists whether you acknowledge it or not. But as you start paying attention to it, it's the most powerful tool you got to change your eating naturally. Because once you realize, oh, I thought the ice cream was really pleasurable. Turns out it's the number one source of pain in my life. Oh, I didn't realize that. And so you say, oh, well, I can't eat ice cream anymore, Jim? No, of course you can eat ice cream. When you eat ice cream moderately, when you eat ice cream at your goal weight, it's fine. You know, but when you're overweight and out of control and nervous about your health and nervous about your sugar, nervous about my knees, and then you eat a pint of ice cream, how pleasurable was it? Again, looking at the full experience. We can't just look at the one piece of it. Because if that was the case, we'll all go on shopping sprees today. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Well, it's the last day of the world. I'll do whatever I want. Well, no, because there's a consequence. In most areas of your life, you've been conditioned to focus on the consequence. But when it comes to food, it's been the exact opposite. Food and that whole industry, and when I say, to me, it's the food industry, the diet industry, and the medical industry. And I'm sure it's more than that, but those are the big three at the core of it all. And the more you eat, the unhealthier you are, the more money they make. And I think there's so much money being made from that. And it comes out in advertisements. And we've been conditioned since birth to think about food in a way that's completely unnatural. And here we are. And so what's the solution? I think the solution is, again, you've got to change how you think. You know, you have to train yourself to focus on the consequence. Because again, we live in a world. Oh, don't worry about that. No. One life. Come on. You only live once. Come on. Don't know that ice cream? I like ice cream, but I don't want ice cream at the expense of my health and happiness. And that is the choice. That is the choice. And it has nothing to do with what you look like. I'm not talking about anything what you look like. I'm talking about what you feel on the inside, physically, mentally, emotionally. That consequence is real. And again, whether you pay attention to it or not, it's still real and it's still there. So if you start paying attention to it, I promise you it's going to change the food decisions you make. This is the truth that's right in front of you. I always say, you know, you got the truth on your side. And what I mean is that those consequences of what you eat are always there. You make good food choices, you feel better. You make bad food choices, you feel worse. I'm using good and bad as generalized terms here. Okay. But bad being, if you want to lose weight and be healthier and you go and eat a bunch of food that's unhealthy, that we'll call a bad decision. You're going to feel a certain way if you do that. Whereas if you have a goal to get healthier and change your weight and all the rest of it, and you make good decisions, what do? You feel a lot better. That's the core thing. I just had this conversation today, you know, the scale and stepping on it. I know that can be really painful for people, but what you're missing is that's a fucking fraction of the pain. That's a tiny fraction. The stepping on the scale is a tiny fraction of the pain. The majority of the pain you experience from your eating is experienced in real time. You're just not paying attention to it because you're used to it. It's the eating the bullshit. And then it's the hours of beating yourself up. It's the hours of feeling like a failure. It's the hours of the shame, the guilt, the negative self-talk, the physical lower energy, the cravings. That's the fucking pain. That's the real pain of your food decisions that you're steeping yourself in day after day after day. The seconds you spend on the scale is a tiny fraction of the pain. The majority of the pain, you're living through it moment to moment. The second you make the food decision, the second you finish the last bite of it, that's where the pain starts and is experienced mostly. And once you start realizing that, it changes the way the food you choose. You know? Julie says, where do you live? I live in Massachusetts, Western Mass. I'm right near the Vermont border. So I actually used to live... I did used to live in Vermont. I used to live in New Hampshire, but ended up in Massachusetts. I love it here. Pick the right spot. Flamingo says, is it actually true that after 25 is hard for women to lose weight, or is it just an excuse? I mean, again, what's hard? Hard, a lot of times hard is really about time, and so after 25, now, right, all the women that are 45 are getting ready to, no one's thinking, maybe 27 and think, you don't want to hear a 27-year-old complain that it's hard to lose weight now, right? But again, at the end of the day, we got to change our mindset around that. Do things happen in our bodies as we get older that may slow down how quickly we can lose weight? We may lose weight slower than we did when we were a kid or younger. 25 feels like a kid. I mean, shit, I'm 51 now, so I could say that, right? 25, you're like a kid. I heard a 26-year-old complain about their metabolism. I'll punch them in the nose. I'm kidding. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of truth to it and a little bit of a lie to it, an excuse to it. So yeah, maybe when you get older, it might take you a little bit longer to lose the weight. Okay. But who gives a shit? Who cares? Because again, if you can put in your mind that you're going to do this one time, right? So I always say like dieters, you're always trying to do it all at once, and program yourself thin, we're trying to do it one time. So if it took you, again, there's always different amounts of weight people want to lose. But, if when you're 25, it would have taken me, and first of all, that's a bunch of bullshit most of the time anyways, when I was 25, I could lose 10 pounds in a week. Yeah. I mean, really though, what's the proof of that? Do you write it down? I mean, you're really clear on that, so that's the first point of problem. But then let's just say, okay, yeah, right. You get a woman, she's menopausal, whatever phase of it, maybe she's hypothyroid, PCOS, insulin resistance is key. These are all factors, right? That metabolic syndrome factors are real. And so maybe your weight loss is slower. Who gives a shit? So it's slower. So what? You're not going to do it? If it's really important enough, it doesn't matter if it's slow or fast. You're going to do it however long it takes. And that's really the attitude you need. But then on the final point I'll make on this is that in Japan, women's BMI stays the same their whole lives. And as last I checked, Japanese women go through menopause too. So, again, I think it's a complex issue, but I don't let it stop you. Don't let it be an excuse that would stop you. Because again, at the end of the day, no matter what age you are, no matter what's going on physiologically in your body, if you reduce your calories over time, your weight's going to go down. If you increase your calories over time, your weight's going to go up. And that thermodynamic reality continues to exist to this day. Karen says the food industry is probably in cahoots with the medical industry. Yeah, I have no doubt about it. And again, I love doctors. I'm not sitting here, again, these are complex things, but I think, when you look at a business model that's built around treating the symptoms, which is what Western medicine is, let's just be honest. And I'm thankful for it. I love medicine. But everything has pros and cons to it and has limitations. And the Western medicine is not primarily about treating the core issue. It's about treating the symptoms, and that's the business model. Okay. So, I mean, I can't think of any more clear example of that than the GLP-1s. Everything, if you don't notice, I don't know how much you all pay attention to marketing and business, but we live in the time of subscription. Subscription is really what everyone wants to have. Okay. So the fact that they made a weight loss medicine that you need to take forever just seems right on brand, and and again, even the GLP-1s, right? The GLP-1s themselves don't fix the core problem. And they tell you that, okay? And I don't think people give a shit right now because they're just excited they might be able to lose weight with something. But I think a lot of people are going to feel different about GLP-1s as time goes on. And I think the main reason why is that it's not a final solution. I think that's what people are going to come up against. I mean, shit, even Oprah Winfrey, but she seemed to like GLP-1s more than anyone. She had a whole special on it. Oprah Winfrey loved GLP-1s. Remember that? Does everyone remember that? Pepperidge Farms remembers because I made a video about her special she did on GLP-1s. Who likes GLP-1s more than Oprah? But guess what I read the other day? That Oprah went off the GLP-1s for a month, put 20 pounds on. Why'd she go off them? Why? Why would you want to go off them? They're amazing. Right? Everything's great. Why would you go off them? Because I don't think it's all great. And again, I'm not here to shit talk GLP-1s, but come on, I'm here to be honest. And, we're in the fucking honeymoon phase of these GLP-1s. I think they're amazing, by the way. I think what these medicines do for certain people, they're going to save lives, a lot of lives. Okay. So I'm right there with it. That being said, I don't think it's a great, I always say this, let me put it in context where I'm coming from. I'll take the success stories of GLP-1 versus success stories of Program Yourself Thin. And the Program Yourself Thin success stories, smoke them. Because once you learn how to get your mind right, get your lifestyle set up, and get your eating right in a way that's sustainable and long-term, how could that not be infinitely better than injecting yourself with an intense medicine and paying for it and feeling nauseous and unhungry for the rest of your life? So again, I come from a different place than the average person. But anyways, don't know what got me on that, but I think it was, they just asked that one. Yeah. What's up, Vicky? Therese says, wow, Jim, today is vintage you. I need to go to a meeting, but I will come back and listen to today's session against night. That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I've been feeling good. I got to tell you, I am in my own business. And for me, my business personal life, it's a little bit of a blurry line, but I would say my business is, wow, like the organization and it just things are kind of elevating to another level, and it's awesome. But I do think it's kind of helped me. I got so much cool stuff planned for you all. I know I always say that, but it's like, it's coming together in a way that is so exciting. So, but I appreciate you saying that. And I'm happy to be vintage Jim. And if it means I'm helping you all, that is my goal. This is a mission for me. I know I say this every day. If you're new here, this for me, and I think one of the things that separates me from a lot of weight loss people is really life and death. I mean, this really started for me. It started before that with other things, but really with my father, he died at 54 of a heart attack, and his weight and his lifestyle were absolutely contributors to it. And so for me, while I do want you to wear your skinny jeans and your bathing suit to the beach, my real motivation is that will live as long as you possibly can and have the best quality life while you're here. So I do believe that my motivation is deeper than a lot of other people's. I want you to look good too. Okay. But it goes way deeper than that. I want you to really thrive in your life. And I think that your lifestyle, your eating in line is the only way to make that happen. I do not think it's possible to reach your potential if you don't have these things in place. So again, never mind just how you look though, but everything that's important to you in your life, I think is directly built upon how you eat, how you live, and how you think. And so getting those things rock solid, again, not only helps you with your weight and how you look, but it also helps you in every area of your life. And I think that's important, right? What's up, Lucy? Lucy says, I've lost 14 pounds and it's all thanks to you. All right. Well, thank you, Lucy. I appreciate that. It's not all thanks to me. You're the one doing the work. Nice job. All right. I'm proud of you. I always say that. People say that to me all the time. It makes me feel good. I'm not going to lie, but it's important to recognize that I'm kind of the spark. But you, Lucy, are the firewood. You know what I mean? You're putting the work in. So I'm proud of you. Keep it going. All right. Nice job. It's nice to lose 14 pounds. And again, if I'm inspiring you, then I know you've done it in probably the most unique way you've ever done it. That's what I was trying to say to people. You can't just measure your success with weight in terms of how much weight you lose. And I know that may sound strange, right? But you can't just look at how much weight you lose to say, oh, this plan's working great or it's not. That can't be your only criteria, because you've got to take into account how it feels for you to follow the plan that you're losing weight on. You've got to bring that into your criteria when you're evaluating a plan. Do you see what I mean? Because if you don't, then, dry fasting seems like a good option, where you don't put anything in your mouth, water or food. But it's not a good option, right? Because it's a miserable way to live, A. B, it's unsustainable. And so even if you lost 30 pounds in a month, who gives a shit? It's only temporary. This isn't a real plan. This isn't real. It's an illusion. And so when you start focusing on not just if you lose weight with the plan, but how does the plan feel? Is it sustainable? Is it comfortable? My goal is to help you find a way to manage your weight that is as easy and comfortable and automatic as possible. I mean, that's the goal. And I want you to reflect on that, because as long as you've been trying to lose weight, you've never even had that idea. Because what you have is the opposite idea. If you're like most dieters, you subconsciously associate the harder it is, the more difficult it is, the better. Because dieting has conditioned you to think the harder and more difficult it is, the faster you're going to lose weight. But you can't just look at how fast you lose weight. You got to look at how long am I going to be able to do this for? Now, people that are losing weight tend to, have some, funny ideas about how long they're able to keep it up. But you got to start being honest with yourself and asking, is this something that really resonates with me? Is this a plan that I feel good with? Most people avoid their weight loss plans because they're stressful and hard and difficult. And if that's how you feel about it, it's going to be really unlikely that you're going to do it for long. So Victoria says, would you ever do conferences, mass hypnosis sessions, and those with great testimonies? Yeah, I would absolutely do conferences. That's absolutely, that's not quite there yet, but that is one of the future phases that I am looking forward to, is traveling around and getting to meet a bunch of you, really just around the country. But I kind of put that off now. I still got my kids are still around, you know what I mean? So it's like, I made a decision. I was talking about this a couple weeks ago, but it's so funny how life is. Cause I remember literally my daughter was born, and that month I was offered a speaking, opportunity down in Florida, and it was a big conference, and it was really, it would have been a kickoff thing for me. You know what I mean? It would have kickstarted that whole, lane of work if I chose to. But I didn't do it, and I don't regret that at all, because for me, I just wanted to be here with my kids. And so I didn't want to be traveling around, and I was fortunate enough to be able to make that decision. But it's something I like to do and want to do. I just have chosen not to do it because, I very intentionally decided to be a homebody. I'm a homebody anyways, you know what I mean? But I'm definitely approaching a phase now where I'd like to get out for a little while and go to some conferences and just talk to bigger groups of people and get to meet you all in person. I love virtual stuff, and I'm thankful for it, but it is nice being around actual humans too. So I do like that as well. And at some point, and I will let you know, obviously, when that happens. Yeah, Lucy says, you've taught me mindfulness and it's my new normal. That's so awesome, Lucy. That makes me happier than anything. That makes me as happy as the 14 pounds down, right? Because I know that if you take mindfulness seriously and you work at it, I know that your weight will follow. That's how it is almost all the time. Sometimes you need a little bit more than just the mindfulness, but I think it's one of the most impactful, important parts of the whole process, is being able to be mindful for so many reasons, And that's something too, I will tell you, this is in the future. I'm kind of talking shit a little bit here, but not really. You'll see this stuff come out as the future goes on. But one thing I will do, because I am a yoga instructor, and I'm really Program Yourself Thin's really getting dialed in this year. I'm kind of more of that process, but at some point in the future, there will be a PYT meditation, PYT yoga, PYT exercise program, that'll be added to the regular program, and so I can't wait, and there's other things too, but that'll be good. Lucy says, I'm thinking like a thin person. It really does work. Yes, it does work, folks, right? Because if you start thinking like a thin, healthy person, you start behaving like a thin, healthy person. Again, it's not fake it till you make it. Please understand that. You have to think of thinking like a thin, healthy person. Well, okay, so let's talk about fake it till you make it, because that's what everyone always says. But by saying fake it till you make it, you're really minimizing what's going on. So for example, if you went into a gym and you saw a person lifting weights, you don't say, oh, they're faking it till they make it, right? You say they're building muscle, okay? So when you imagine yourself as the person you want to be, you're not faking it till you make it. You are literally creating the neural connections that turn into the neural networks of your thin, healthy self. And this to me is the missing piece of all dieters, because when you're a dieter, you just say, tomorrow I'm going to eat well. And then tomorrow shows up and you eat as well as you can until you can't eat well, right? And then once you can't eat well, then you beat yourself. Say, you jerk, you should have said no. And nowhere in that scenario is there any opportunity to practice. How do you practice thinking like a thin, healthy person? How do you practice making the decisions of a thin, healthy person? And most of you have no answer to that, because dieting doesn't allow for that. Dieting is an all or nothing paradigm. It says you're either doing it right and you just do it and you want it and you're doing it, or you're not. But program yourself thin's an all or something paradigm, so that we can still do everything perfect, fine. But even when we're not in that mode that we can't do everything perfect, we're still in the game doing something. And when you start thinking that way, it opens up even the space to just, even if we're just imagining being the person we want to be, even if we're just pretending what it would be like to be the thin, healthy person we want to be, it's literally doing work. It's literally moving us in the direction we want to go in. And it's completely opposite of dieting, because dieting, again, you're all in for a couple days or a couple weeks, and then you're all out. And most likely, if you look at it, your weight loss history looks like that, right? Looks like a couple days in, a couple weeks in, and then you're not doing anything. Then you get really upset, a couple days, couple weeks, and you don't do anything. And you have probably followed that framework your entire life, because there's no alternative. If you're not doing everything perfect, there is no plan B, plan C in your diet. It's all or nothing. It's a light switch. Okay. And program yourself, then we're dealing with a dimmer switch. Sometimes you want to crank it all the way up. Cool. But then you feel like, oh, I'm wiped out, or I got sick, or this crazy thing went on in my life. I'm going to dial it down. I can't do everything I was doing, but I'm still drinking my water. I'm still eating my apple. I'm still going for my walks, And so it leaves space for you to still engage with it, even when you're not at 100%. And don't you think that's important? Because again, you dieters, if you zoom out on your life, in what scenario are you able to be 100% perfect all the time? Like, when you really reflect on the psychology and the effectiveness and logic of dieting over the long term, I think it just crumbles and falls apart. I don't think there's any real solid thinking going on there strategically. So that's my thoughts on that. But all right, I got to get out of here. Again, if you're not in my world, please go get in it by clicking the link in my bio. If you're on TikTok, you can go click my little picture up there and you'll be brought right to my bio. There's a link. Click it. Go get it. It takes 15 seconds to answer the questions and get the session. If you're over on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, you can go to programyourselfthin.com. Or if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can scroll up in the comments and you should see the link. I put it in there. And you can go get that free hypnosis session. Again, that session is a kickstart session I designed specially to help you experience hypnosis, A, and B, I'm one of the highest paid hypnotists on the planet. So I'm not the person down the street who's open, 2 days a week and has been doing this for, a year. I have been doing this personally for over 30 years, professionally for over 20 years. I've been doing Program Yourself Thin for over 20 years as a program. I've done over 6,000 private weight loss sessions. My private clients pay me $25,000 to work with me for 12 weeks. So again, this free hypnosis session, if you're ever going to give it a shot, I can't think of a better place to start. And you got nothing to lose, right? Either you love it and it helps you, or you hate it and you just delete it and you're gone, and no harm, no foul. But you owe it to yourself to at least see if it might help you, because it could be the missing piece. All right. And if you like this, I'm here every Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern, live. And I'm here live every day to help you all out. So whatever questions you may have, I am literally here at your service to help you out. And I mean that genuinely. I don't expect anything in return. I just want to help you. And in doing so, help other people realize there's a better way. There's a better way to do this. Okay. Dieting is not the only answer. Injection, surgery, that's not the only options. Okay. We got this option of the goal weight pyramid, where we deal with our mindset, lifestyle, and eating so that we can think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. All right. And that session will help you do that. And hopefully these lives will help you with that as well. And if you missed the lives and you like listening to this, it's also a podcast where you can listen to the whole thing. You can search any podcast platform, Program Yourself, then they'll pop up and you can listen to them. And finally, one last thing you can do if you're interested is my book. My book is out now, available. And basically this to me is a summary of everything we go through every day here, just in a very, very strategic format. This book is 40 chapters. Each chapter is a page or two. Each chapter is a hypnotic story designed to change you as you read it. So not only are you getting good information going in that you're going to learn cool things from, but simultaneously it is designed to program your subconscious mind so that you naturally begin to think, feel, act like a thin, healthy person. All right. So again, this is available at Amazon, Kindle, and physical version. It is only $2.99 for the Kindle version, $99 for the physical version. So that's there. Tao living at your goal weight. Go check it out. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Fusia, nice to see you. Have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye, everyone.